prepared is not the right word. It caught the whole entire world. It was a shock.
The unknown, the fear, fear from a standpoint of health, fear from a standpoint of what we didn't know about COVID, fear about not being able to take care of your family, fear about not having a roof over your head, fear about when your job does open up, are you going to have a job to go back to? I think all of that put such an enormous stress on our community, our country, but we saw it firsthand in our community.
When COVID first happened, it took us all by surprise.
I don't think you ever prepare for anything like this.
We were unprepared.
We were dealing with people in the medical community, trying to take care of them. And there again, like I said before, they were the heroes of this whole thing.
When you think about how much fear and uncertainty we had in a community, think about those on the front lines with COVID.
And we did have nurses that did get COVID while we were on the unit. It's like, how? We were wearing masks, we were wearing all this stuff. And, well.
And talking about the medical communities, which, you know, those folks are the heroes. They really are.
I had a guy that dropped his wife off because she had a cold. Took her to the door of the emergency room. He was going to park the car. When he goes to park the car, he comes back to the emergency room. They had already taken her back and already had her sedated, and he was not allowed to see her and didn't see her for weeks. How do you have a conversation about that?
There was a 25-year-old patient that I remember specifically, and she looked at me one day and she said, "Am I gonna die?" And I said, "Honey, I don't know." She died a week later. And I was not there.
That calling that they had that was so strong that they walked into that every single day. We're fortunate in this community to have so much health care here. I don't know if people really think about that.
Lots of people that have walked through the pandemic, especially people that were in the service industries, paramedics, nurses, doctors, people that they didn't have a choice. They couldn't shut down. They were in that. They were the front lines of that. And so when we talk about heroes in the world we live in, by all means, people that are serving in other countries and our armed forces and all that. But man, for this period of time, a couple years, I've watched some of my best friends. I watched one of my best friends get out of the medical field because he just couldn't handle it anymore. There was so much death and destruction.
To understand what it's like to sit by a person's bedside, a stranger you've never met before in your life, and cry with them. Cry with them, cry with their families, be there for all of this, and then go back to the next room and put on a happy face and say, "How you doing today?" The juxtaposition from crying in one room to coming and joking in the next room is hell on your mental health.
I do remember seeing people come out of then University Hospital and just the masks hanging off their ears and just the look of, it's the end of the day and the end of the shift and you're going home, but it just that look on their face of they've been through something. They've been through something.
The worst part with COVID was that families couldn't be by the side of the bed. They couldn't be there with their family members as they took their last breath. And if the family was okay with it, a lot of times we would stay in there and just hold the patient's hand. If they didn't have family, we'll hold the patient's hand when there's nobody there.
You can sit there and pray in the darkness of the night. But you couldn't visit. You couldn't hold their hand. You couldn't hug their neck. So. Sexuality,
gender, race. at that point when we were doing COVID stuff, it didn't matter. Like, we were just in a fight for our lives.
It did bring some people together. I think we did realize how strong, this sounds really weird, but how strong the human race, how resilient we are. And, you know, I never saw, which I don't anyway, and the church should never, like, I didn't see black and white and male and female. I didn't see sexual orientation, and I can have my opinion on all this stuff. I just saw the human race.
Why does it take something bad for something to happen, for us to put away the shit that doesn't matter? At the end of the day, we're people. Why does it always take something bad to happen for us to really see each other as people?
We were on the same level. And like, if you got COVID, like, there was this empathy, not a sympathy, there was an empathy. Like, it made us a little bit more sympathetic to people. And maybe it's because it impacted every person.
So many social issues that just went away. Because we as a community, as a nation, we're trying to figure this stuff out. But the people who suffered were the people. And for that brief time, we realized that there are bigger things than what you look like or who you love. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Why can't we be like that all the time? That's what I wish. I wish that there was more compassion in this world. I wish that there was more love. I wish that there was more understanding. And I wish that there was less selfishness. Because I guarantee you, if there was just a tiny percentage more of all those things, then we wouldn't have half the issues that we do have.
In a certain respect, that's what COVID did. It made us become human again.
There's not enough money in this world that can substitute the love that you have for another person. If you don't have that mindset, then you're in the wrong profession.
COVID didn't care how much money you made. COVID didn't care what color you were. I hope it never happens again. Like, I don't know that I want to go through it again. This impacted the entire world. This wasn't something that was a community or a state or a country. It was the entire world, and we would get reports from the entire world. It took its toll. Yeah, I'm done.